Throughout the past semester, we have covered an abundance of really big topics that have altered a lot of my perceptions of the world. Via the journal entries, I've recorded many of my thoughts on such subjects. For example, in the reconciliation unit, we were asked to define what reconciliation meant. And my response to that was reconciliation looks like rebuilding a society in which the survivors are treated with complete equality and survivors are treated with complete respect. Perpetrators need to be prosecuted, and the actions that took place need to be recognized. It sounds like apologies and it feels like acceptance. Reconciliation cannot be generated exclusively via the perpetrators. It is necessary that victims have a seat at the table when determining the necessary steps for reconciliation. And I chose this entry as I thought it really tied into what we learned on the unit of affirmative action. Based on what we learned in that unit, I don't believe that reconciliation can occur until everyone in that society is allowed to thrive. And one of the journal entries from that unit was, what do you think if the applicants are equal in every way? Should the minority applicant be hired? And my response to that was, in my opinion, if the applicants are completely equal, the minority should be hired. I think this because there may be less opportunities for the minority to be hired elsewhere. Furthermore, having a more diverse environment will do no harm, but it would most likely strengthen the community in itself. And this journal entry really solidifies for me that to foster adequate reconciliation, affirmative action should definitely take place. So moving back to a bit onto the reconciliation unit, another one of the journal entries was, how can reconciliation help a nation, individuals, and groups heal from past trauma? And my response to that was, reconciliation can help relieve weight from survivors, help create mutual respect in society, and a nation can be held responsible for their actions. Furthermore, proper reconciliation can lead to stronger communities, an enriched culture, and can lead to trust, openness, generosity, respect, sharing, caring, and love. And I chose this entry as I think it really shows my growth throughout this semester. Originally, I thought reconciliation just looked like an apology, but after studying the reconciliation in Rwanda after their genocide, I learned that to foster proper reconciliation, the community affected by genocide needs to be rebuilt as a whole with the input of the victims in mind. Moving on from that, I'm going to go a bit into the residential schools unit, as we were asked to write a journal entry based off the passage, The Idea of an Indian. So I'm just going to read a quote from what I wrote, which is, while reading the passage, it really struck me how quickly the Europeans were to judge the First Nations people. I think what led to such quick judgments was originally a sense of curiosity followed by an abundance of biases. And I'm highlighting this quote as I think it emphasizes how important it is that people are educated on cultures other than their own. Throughout the passage, The Idea of an Indian, the Europeans continuously used derogatory terms such as uncivilized, savages, and Indians when referring to the First Nations people. Had they been educated, they would have understood that the First Nations people weren't uncivilized, they celebrated a different culture. Overall, this just ties into our first mini unit on social justice in schools and the importance it is that we are educated on social justice. In terms of my own personal education growth, I'm going to refer back to the very first assignment we did, which was the structured self-assessment. And within that assignment, we were asked, how does my ancestry and nationality affect my perceptions? And my response to that was, my ancestry allowed me to grow up with a lot of knowledge on the effects of the Holocaust, as a lot of my family members are Jewish and experienced the war firsthand. And looking back now, I realize that although I was educated on parts of the Holocaust, I lacked a lot of the necessary education. I now recognize all the steps that took place leading up to the Holocaust, such as the dehumanization of Jews, Gypsies, and members of the LGBTQ+ community, the preparation that took place, the meaning behind the ethnic enclaves, and more. Because of what I have learned throughout this course, I'm now able to look at the world with a different perspective. I'm now able to recognize the us versus them mentality as it occurs and the dehumanizing acts. Furthermore, I understand how important it is that I push for reconciliation of residential schools in Canada and have ideas on how to do so, such as speaking up for Indigenous peoples, declaring what happened as genocide, and when of age, voting for a government that includes more Indigenous peoples. Thank you!